Have you ever stopped for a moment and really looked at a simple 1-cent coin? Not just glanced at it, but actually studied it. The design, the words, the tiny details that most people ignore every day. It might surprise you to know that even the smallest coins can carry some of the biggest stories. Today, we are going to compare two very interesting coins from two different countries and two completely different time periods. The 2009 Canadian 1-cent coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II, and the 1956 United States Lincoln wheat penny. At first glance, both of these coins may seem ordinary. They are small, copper-colored, and only worth 1 cent. Most people wouldn't think twice before spending them. But once you start to look deeper, you realize that these coins are much more than just currency. They represent history, identity, culture, and in some cases, hidden value. One coin comes from modern Canada, during the final years before the penny was discontinued, while the other comes from mid-20th century America, when coins were a vital part of everyday life. One represents an ending, while the other represents a legacy that lasted nearly half a century. And that brings us to the main question: which of these coins is more interesting, and could one of them actually be worth more than it seems? Let's begin with the 1956 Lincoln wheat penny from the United States, a coin that immediately gives off a strong sense of history and tradition. The moment you look at it, you can feel that it belongs to a different era. On the front of the coin, you see the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, one of the most respected presidents in American history. His image is detailed and serious, reflecting strength, leadership, and unity. Above his head is the word liberty, a powerful symbol that has been part of American coinage for generations. To the side, you will find the phrase "In God We Trust," which became especially meaningful during the mid-1900s as a reflection of national identity. Just below the year 1956, there is a small letter D, which tells us that this coin was minted in Denver. This small detail may seem unimportant, but for collectors, mint marks can make a big difference in identifying and valuing coins. Now when you turn the coin over, you are greeted by one of the most iconic designs in American coin history, the wheat reverse. Two wheat stalks curve along the edges of the coin, surrounding the words 1 cent and United States of America, while at the top you see E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one. This design was used from 1909 to 1958, making it one of the longest-running designs in U.S. coinage. By the time 1956 arrived, this design was already approaching its final years, which gives coins from this period a special place in history. Millions of these pennies were produced, so they are not considered rare in general. However, rarity is only one part of the story. Condition is where things start to change. A worn-out 1956 penny with faded details and scratches from years of use may only be worth slightly more than its face value. But a coin that has been carefully preserved, with sharp lines, clear lettering, and original shine, can be worth significantly more. Collectors pay close attention to details like luster, surface quality, and overall appearance. And then there are error coins, which take things to a whole new level. A small mistake during the minting process, such as doubled letters, off-center strikes, or unusual markings, can turn an ordinary penny into something highly valuable. This is why collectors often examine coins under magnification, searching for those tiny details that others might miss. The 1956 wheat penny is not just a coin, it is a piece of American history, a reminder of a time when coins were heavily used, and a symbol of a design that would soon come to an end. Now let's shift our focus to the 2009 Canadian 1-cent coin, which tells a completely different but equally fascinating story. At first glance, this coin feels more modern, cleaner, and simpler in design. On the front, you see Queen Elizabeth II, portrayed with elegance and calm authority. The inscription DG Regina appears beside her, which stands for Dei Gratia Regina, meaning Queen by the grace of God. This phrase has been used on coins across the British Commonwealth for centuries, connecting modern currency to a long-standing royal tradition. Compared to the bold and historical feel of the American wheat penny, The Canadian coin has a more refined and minimal appearance. When you turn the coin over, you will see the maple leaf twig, one of the most recognizable symbols of Canada. The design is simple yet meaningful, representing the country's natural beauty and national identity. Alongside the maple leaves, you will find the words 1 cent and the year 2009. At first, this coin may not seem particularly special, especially because it is relatively recent compared to the 1956 penny. But here, where things get interesting. The 2009 Canadian penny comes from one of the final years before Canada officially stopped producing 1 cent coins in 2012. This means that the coin you are holding is part of the last chapter of Canadian penny history. While millions were minted, many people did not think to save them, and over time, these coins have become less common in circulation. In terms of value, most 2009 Canadian pennies are still worth close to their face value if they are worn or used. However, coins that are in perfect condition, especially those taken directly from mint rolls or sets, can be more desirable to collectors. Just like the 1956 penny, error coins also exist in this series, and those rare mistakes can increase value significantly. What makes this coin truly special is not just its design, but its timing. It represents the end of an era, the moment when a country decided to move away from its smallest denomination. In a way, this gives the coin a sense of importance that goes beyond its actual value.